We are here to discover how the Stars Plus strategy can help you become rich and powerful. And so you're going to find out how the stars can help you figure out ways to grow and attract money, the keys to your success, ways to harness your power, how to be unwavering no matter what is going on. So that's like secret awesome sauce, which I think is awesome. We're going to answer questions and we're basically going to have a blast because Crista is awesome. And I need to introduce myself first, so I'll go ahead and do that. So I am Kim Woods. I am a Chief Intuitive Strategy Officer, and I am the creator of the Living Your Star Potential Divination System that combines the ancient feminine wisdom with astrology and my 25 years of C-suite experience to clear the pathway to your success so you become rich and powerful. And Crista Grasso is the go-to strategic planning and systems expert. She helps people lean out, and she's known as the business optimizer. So when you want to scale your business, she's the woman to reach out to. She has created the lean out method. She has created the lean out business scaling model, and she has a lean out your business podcast. So one more thing before I say hey to Crista. Crista is the ideator behind me coming out here and doing Star Peaks and doing these interviews that we've been doing for the last handful of weeks. So I have great gratitude for Crista. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today. And I'm so excited that you're doing this because your work is magical and amazing. And the more people that see it, the better.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So Crista and I are in a mastermind together. We belong to the Dames, and that's where women meet and they help. We just help each other, which is so beautiful. And so it feels so supportive and luscious. And I went to the group and I was like, I don't know, podcast, not to podcast. What am I doing? Crista's like, just chatting with me. Like, just call me. just call me. I know all the things. Just, you didn't say that. That's me saying that. And I was like, okay. And we had an awesome conversation and you went through a bunch of ideas. I have copious notes, but then you were like, just try it. Just do a series. And I was like, she's brilliant. Why don't we just do a series? So we've been having so much fun. And today we are going to go talking about success. We're going to talk about power. We're going to talk about money. And then we're going to talk about being unwavering, as I mentioned before, because that is the key, because the world is hectic. There's a lot of things going on. It's really, fast paced. And, for you, I love, Crista, you probably just tell people like lean out, right?
Yeah, exactly. Get rid of all the stuff you don't need, all the noise, all the distractions, all the waste. Just do what you want to do. You don't have to do any of the rest of it.
I love that. That is so key, because I think a lot of times we might, create businesses the way we think that they have to be created, or do things that because other people are doing them. And so for me, I help you figure out like what's yours and what's not yours. And then you help people just get rid of all the things that aren't yours. Right?
Yeah, let's practically look at it. It's not a Band-Aid. You can't just rip it off and stop tomorrow. You probably have commitments, clients, other things, but there is a path to get where you want to go. So let's figure out that path.
Right. Which is so awesome, But we're going to do a Star Peak with you, which I'm super excited to do. We're going to dive in. And again, very intentionally, right? So when I do a reading, I allow the stars to just take me wherever they want to take me. And truth tell, Crista and I have already done that. So now this is the, more mindfully going in and looking for certain things. So that's a little bit more directive. And so when I look at your stars for success, this is where I want to get you to give yourself a pat on the back. I want you to be like, yep, I am so aligned with my star success. It's a little crazy. You're so aligned with it. Yay. And you must feel it because you must be in the flow. Right. So people come to you and it just happens, and you have, you probably have a full call sheet and, things like that. Right. And it's because you're aligned, because when I look at your stars, anything that you do are with like technologically based and or from a teaching, speaking perspective, that really highlights your talents. Do you feel that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
definitely.
It's huge. And then when I look at, you and because success, there is a money aspect. I'm going to get a little bit more detail than money in a few minutes, but like for you, this helps you. And I love how you have the lean out method, because you have a bravery signature in your house of money. And so think about it. Leaning out is brave. Like it requires bravery.
Yeah. Easy in theory, hard to do, really hard to do in real life.
Yeah. Yeah. Because think about this. When we do, I think it's a human, reaction to, when you're stopping doing something, when you're optimizing, when you're scaling back or scaling down, we can go, right? Like, I don't know if your clients do that, but
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Letting go is not easy to do. Even if you know it's for the next level, it's still really hard to stop doing something you've always done, or
Yeah.
really hard to let go of something that maybe at one point in time was your passion, something you loved so much that's just no longer serving you. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's right there in your house of money. So for you to be doing this, I was looking at it, I was like, check, 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 check. Yay. Okay. I'm going to press a little bit though. I'm not so sure how you are in the large groups, big audience, big stages. Have you stepped into that? Are you doing that?
Not as much. I like things a little bit more intimate,
Okay.
and smaller scale.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. You can,
However, it sounds
you,
like there may be some other plans here.
just a little. Okay. How about, yes, you do love that intimacy. You love the deep, like you, because I was going to talk about power, and that is part of your power signature, which is beautiful. But there is a huge signature here for attracting people into your world. It does still require bravery, just like we talked about, right? And it is about you introducing new topics. And there is a boldness to the way people do things, which you already are doing. Like you're already doing. Do you ever though do you ever come out with disrupting language? Do you do that?
Oh, all the time. Yeah.
Okay.
This week I just launched a podcast that said everything you've ever been taught about team is wrong.
Okay. Yeah. So you're already doing that. This is really good for you to not only attract new people coming into your world, but to then have there be a cycle of growth that they go through that you are supporting them with, which is beautiful.
I love it. And I have been feeling internally very drawn towards creating a larger community, which is weird for me because it's not something I normally am drawn to do, but it's one of those ideas that won't go away, keeps resurfacing and keeps coming back again and again. So really interesting.
You might want to lean out and do that.
Really interesting.
Well, but here's the thing though. I will tell you, this star chart doesn't say that you're a community builder. So you don't have to hold the whole community. So don't be thinking about that. Because I think we do. I think we figure, oh, we're going to create, we're going to draw big audiences. We're going to create a group or community. Yes, but no. Because for you, it's for you to be speaking, it's for you to be teaching, it's for you to be disrupting their kind of their cycle, their thought process, their approach. If you wanted to form a more of a community, someone else could help you do that, because you do know partnership is really good for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
favorite thing ever.
Favorite thing ever, and it's so good for you. I mean, literally, when I looked at that, and I know what you do, right? So I was like, oh, she came into wholeness. Because did you have to merge with some resistance? Did you have to overcome some resistance to that?
A little bit. I've always been very independent. And I love working collaboratively with others, but at the same time, I've been very independent. So I recently shifted my business model where you can hire lean out method and never, ever work with me. You can work with the amazing rock stars that I've developed and brought up alongside of me. And that was a really big shift that I've made in recent years.
Yeah, that was a big deal for you. Your soul is singing right now. Your soul is like, oh, you did it. Because there is, you do have this big planet. It's Pluto. You have Pluto right there going, really? You have to overcome some things. You have to clear that path. You have to overcome some obstacles. So kudos for you for doing that. I was going to go into that from a power perspective, but we can talk about that a little bit more. But from a money perspective, partnership. Yep, you can attract more money into your world through partnership. That's beautiful. From a making perspective, now no one likes to hear this, but you're part of the lead out method, so I can say it, right?
Yeah.
There is a cyclic energy that you have with this. So it's cyclic. So, and I know when I say cycles, people always go, oh, yay. Uh-oh. Oh, yay. Uh-oh. It's just the way it works. You have a rhythm, a tempo, a flow that when you really embrace that, it actually helps you increase both your top and bottom lines. So I love that. And then from a growing money perspective, Do you go outside the norm? Do you allow yourself to have fun? Do you get creative? Because that's the signature that you have in your stars for that.
It's interesting. So I've always had 3 businesses, and one of them is my jewelry business, which
Oh,
is my
that's great.
creative
Yeah.
adventure. And I recently made the decision to close that because I just don't have the time for it. I really need to be putting my focus in lean out method. But I want to take the creative energies and the creative element of that and infuse it more in my brand. So that's some of the stuff I've been doing a little bit more lately. And I'm excited to do even more of because I had them very segmented.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to just roll it all into one. And I
Yeah.
think it's going to be pretty amazing.
Because this is how your money can help you make money. Right. So traditionally we can say investment, but it can be passive income. When I talk about creating wealth, I talk about, of course, you're going to improve your bottom line. That's the first thing. Right. And then, but second thing, I talk about, do you want to have an ability to create passive income? And I'm thinking from a design perspective, there's something here, Crista, that wants to come through.
Oh yeah. I have my planner. You can't really see it behind me, but I have a 90-day planner
Yeah.
already that I sell, but I have all sorts of ideas for all other amazing things.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are on my 2024 plan.
Oh, I can't wait. This will be great because this will help. Your money will then start growing itself. So again, so that's where it's just now it just starts like just falling from the sky. Who doesn't want money to fall from the sky?
Bring it.
Bring it, right? Like everybody wants money to fall from the sky, right? So I'm going to go into your power because your power, it helps give you energy. It helps, create resource. And it also helps you be in like so owning yourself that you become attractive to everybody, right? And so this is where when you had said small group and more of that intimate connection, that is that is part of your power signature. It is. There's like a complexity and depth that wants to be balanced with like the surface and the obvious. So when you're doing your podcast, do you drive the people to go deeper, or do you just let the conversation flow?
I'm always, always, always outcome and what's in it for me driven. So any conversation I have, especially if I'm on the podcast, I'm listening for what the person is saying through the lens of the listener. So I usually will guide the questions or steer the conversation based on who's the person that's going to be listening to this episode and what do they need to hear most. So sometimes I'm sticking with the questions I had planned because it's the natural flow. And other times I'll completely take the conversation in a different direction because someone said something and I'm like, the person that I know listens to this, they're going to want to know more about this. This is going to be tremendously helpful.
Yeah. And it's interesting because I think we feel naturally that if we're going to get deep and it's going to be intense, it needs to be a smaller group or, a smaller container. I think that there's some people in your audience that are really yearning for more depth and more deliciousness. So I don't know. So you're the one who comes up with the questions, right? Okay. I don't want to say zingers. Okay. Let me just say to everybody, I just volunteered to be on Krista's podcast. So I'm setting myself up here right now. Right. So,
Yeah.
okay. Bring it. Like, let's go. But like, because I remember the first time I was on my first podcast, the woman was just launching. So she asked like 10 of us to be, her first people on. And she sent us this laboriously, detailed questionnaire. I realized after I was the only one that dutifully filled it out. And we were the only one that had that type of conversation. It was her number one podcast for the longest time. And first of all, I wasn't really out of the spiritual closet yet. Like this was a while ago. And my thing was, she asked me such intimate questions. I was like, okay. And I trusted her. Right. So I was like, I'll answer them. And so it was titled like, how are you hiding? Because my whole thing was I was hiding in the closet and I was literally still living that. And I was saying every day I meditate and I ask, how am I hiding? So I know, we want to be on brand for you. Right. But I'm looking at your power and you have such, everybody has a unique power signature, but yours, there is something here that magic will come out of it.
Interesting. Okay.
Right?
I can't wait to see how this unfolds.
Yeah. Well, because then I have a little shock and awe goes a long way for you.
Yeah.
So you knew that. I wasn't sure you knew that. But I think in this too, I think people are desiring rich conversation. And that's why I asked, when you're leaning out, people do have to overcome some fear, and they have to become brave, and they have to be bold, and they have to say yes to themselves, and they have to let go of things. I think this is a stage that people are wanting to know how that happens for others.
Okay.
Okay.
I
And
like
here,
it.
and here I've totally volunteered, Crista.
The wheels are turning in the head right now.
You can start with me. I'll just go on record here live that you can start with me, and we'll go ahead and see how this goes.
I can't wait.
Okay. And the other thing, and I think I did say this in your start peak, going with the flow. I think I even said, like, don't course the river, right? So does that ring true for you? Were you like nodding when you heard that, or were you still like, okay, fine?
So my natural state that I like to be in is a flow state.
Okay.
I absolutely do. But if I'm not in flow, if there's things that feel like they're not in alignment with me, I will do anything I can to make changes so they become more in alignment. I think part of the reasons why I create and help people create systems is because I think most systems are absolutely terrible, and they're overly complex, and they are useless, and they actually make things more complex than simplify things. And so a lot of times the things I do will be to make things more in flow. So if I'm not in flow already, a lot of my actions or a lot of the things that I create because the existing things don't make sense. And so
Okay. I love that for business. I'm going to go beyond business and in life.
Okay.
Okay. So going with the flow. Can you kick back? How's the kickback ability in your world?
If you had asked me this question before 6 months ago, non-existent. However, recently I have been really good about actually making time for myself, and
Right.
I've taken on new hobbies, and I've actually started working out, and I'm doing all of these things that I never used to create space for. So it's kind of a whole new world. I'm liking it. It's a little weird. I still sometimes feel like I should be working, or I feel like I should be somewhere else. But I'm getting really good at being present and trying to actually enjoy other things and make space for other things that are important.
Which is so good, because when we talk about, kind of like having infinite resource, or being the prosperity of flow or something, this is part of that. I'm under the lens of power right now for you, because for you, that's part of your power. This is part of your power on your star signature. For other people, it might not, but it is definitely helpful in prosperity for everyone. Absolutely everyone. So, okay. So I'm glad the timing of the question, because you can say yes.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to press a little bit and say, okay, more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been interesting. I would have sworn to you before that I couldn't, just because, I think everybody says, oh, I can't right now. Yeah. But you can.
You can.
Because I could.
Right? I know it's amazing how you can create space when you really intentionally do it. Right.
Yep.
So yeah, I love that. I love that. So I am going to just like widen the conversation and just talk about becoming unwavering. Right. And so knowing yourself and knowing who you are and what belongs with you and what doesn't, and being willing to clear your pathway, I think is one of the keys, right? Because people come to me and say, I want to make big impact. I want to be out there. I want to be in service. I want to help people, whatever they come to me for. And I'm assessing, as I'm talking to them on that first call, what's your willingness factor? Right. Because, like you, I mean, for me to be able to clear your pathway, there are going to be some changes, right? Like there's going to be some shifts. There's going to be some things that you're doing that you're like, A, I didn't know I could do that. B, I didn't know I wanted to do that. And C, sure, I think it might be helpful. And then of course it is. But like at first, our mind doesn't like change. Like our mind literally doesn't like change, right? So this is where I think the stars can help, because the stars can give your mind the information that it needs to say, okay, I guess this is in the flow for me. I guess this is information that I need. And then here, because we met in a collaborative group, I just love, and this is where the divine feminine energy is coming in. This is the way of the future. This is the way everybody's going to want and need to run their businesses and their lives, but appreciating the art of collaboration to step into your influence to make impact. This is where you're not controlling the outcome. This is where you're not having so many expectations. I like to say to people, I just hop on calls and I'm like, I have no idea what's going to happen. It could be a sales call. And I'm like, I still don't know what's going to happen, and I had one recently where, we came together and we were like, and literally I was like, why are we here? She's like, I don't know. It's like, okay. Well, let's have a conversation. And it was interesting because it led to another conversation, which led to another conversation. And now we're doing something like 100 times bigger than we would have done if either one of us had tried to sell to each other that first call.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I know for you that is part of and I bet the podcast helps you, if it's somebody that you don't really know, or somebody that you want to get to know more, and somebody that you're wondering how you're going to work with them. I bet that's a great way to be able to identify that.
Oh, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Hence my to podcast and not to podcast. And with your help, it's to podcast, right? So then I'll have you on my podcast and we'll have delicious conversation as well, right?
Can't wait.
Yeah. And finally, the thing is that I wanted to help people reconcile is that the spiral of growth, because growth isn't linear. We want it to be linear, but it's not. And you must experience this all the time. Like, you change a system and then this happens, and then you change another system and then that happens. It's the same thing with life. You change one habit and this happens. You change one routine, you widen your receiving container, and things unknown and unexpected are going to happen. And you can have the attitude of, that's exciting, or holy crap. Your choice. You decide, right? So do you have anything, people asked like astrology questions. Do you have anything you want to talk about before we hop into the questions? Any questions you have for me?
I think I love everything that you shared, and I am always so curious, and I just so want to know myself better.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I will ask you, what would be a good question that I should be asking that will help me to actually know myself better?
This is perfect. Okay. So your human design came to the fore and was like, pick me. Okay. So I'm not going to go into your whole human design chart, right? Because we don't want to be confusing to people. But what popped out was that two things. One is you have a 6-2 profile. And I don't expect you to know what that means. I'm going to explain that. If you do, great. But and then you have a left angle cross of wishes as your soul destiny. So I don't know if I talked about this a lot in your Star Peak or not. I don't remember. I don't remember doing it. But do you know how visionary you are? Like, hey, do you really own that?
I mean, I am a visionary, and I am a big strategist in taking that vision and making it real. But I don't know that I do fully own that.
This is the thing. When you have a gift, I think we normalize it, right? We're like, oh, everybody can do this. Mm-hmm. No, only about 5% of the population can do this. Okay. So there's 95% of the people that don't know how to do this. Okay. So I'm not saying you're prophetic, like, oh, I can see the future, but you understand like what trends are coming, and you understand how things should work, and you can see it. When I go into the wishing part of it, this is where that imagination and your creativity do want to come more into your business. They definitely do. And I think you yearn for that, because it's like, I think you were thinking it's either this or that.
For a long time, I separated them. Yep. No.
Yeah.
It needs to like blend.
Absolutely. And when I go into that 6-2 profile, that's your natural role model. And what role models tend to do is they tend to distance themselves a little bit, because I'm an expert on this. I can show you the way. I'm an advisor. I'm a guide. I'm a teacher. And you're all those things. Like, I'm saying, yes, you're all those things. And I think this is why that delicious conversation came in from a podcast perspective more. And you're very authentic. You have tons of integrity, but I think people want more of you. And yes, I did just read you're clearing the backyard for your wedding. That, how often do you allow yourself to share a story like that?
Not often enough. It's more when I'm inspired to. And my most popular things I've ever shared is the wisteria effect, the Green Day effect, my wedding. It's these experiences that I have that there is nothing that happens in my life that I do not see a parallel to business in. And so it's when I take some experience and put the parallel to business and I share it. Those are always my most popular things, but I never want to force it. I write about it when I feel inspired and I see it. I feel like if I force it, it'll start to feel less authentic.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying force, but the sharing, and that's the thing. I think what I'm getting here for you is that I know what I'm getting here for you is that it doesn't always have to be tied to business. It can just
Okay.
be. It can just be. And so think
That's
about
nice.
it. And again, it doesn't always have to be written, right? Because written, there's a sort of crafting that happens with that, right?
Mhm.
So, and of course it does, because of course it does, right? But if it's in conversation, the podcast is sitting right here next to me and has been this whole time, Krista. Like literally, it's like, would you say this? And then would you say this? And then would you say this? Yeah, that's actually happening. Okay. So it can happen in conversation.
Great. Okay.
Okay.
I love it.
Right.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm
Yay.
in.
And this, you're going to draw bigger audiences with this. So that's why I wanted to situate, like, are you ready for that? Because that will happen.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm ready.
Yay.
Let's go.
Let's go. Yay. Okay. So from a question and answer perspective, we have a few. So someone asked, how can I use astrology to gain insights into my strengths and weaknesses, allowing me to create a thriving business that aligns with cosmic energies? That's the thing. The stars will tell you. Like I literally, everything, it's going to look like gobbledygook and it's going to have all of my writing here. Literally, the stars are painted in the sky. It's the map of your potential. And it's the map of your potential that's unique to you. And so when somebody goes in and reads a birth chart or a natal chart, however that comes to be from a wording perspective for you, you want to be ensuring that your energy alignment and your business fold in and create the flow for you. Because when they're out of alignment, especially now, the times the stars are making it more difficult to be out of alignment. And that's in our favor, but it doesn't feel good. Okay. And then there's another question that came in too, but then there's another one. How can I balance between financial success and personal well-being to ensure sustainability and fulfillment? Oh, you can definitely do this, because there's a yearning that your stars will say and outline for you. And with money, I always feel like we need to like widen the lens on that, because we think of the law of attraction, which is great, but that's attracting money. That usually has one signature, and that's usually different than making money and managing money and keeping money and growing money. There's literally an array that I look at when I look at people's money stars, because I want to help them know what they're really good at. Because there are people that absolutely 100% your sales model should be you hopping on calls with people. Somebody else, that absolutely should not be your model at all, because it's just not going to work. No matter, I don't care how much training you have. I don't care how qualified the person is. It's just not going to work for you. So there are other ways that you can bring in money. So when you're doing things that are supportive of your energy and supportive of you, that's where the fulfillment and satisfaction comes in, because you're not coursing the river. You're not fighting that. And then somebody asked, how can you provide insights into the timing using astrology, like when to not launch new things and make investments and things like that? I will just give a glimmer right now. So as of right now, where we are right now, so it's August 10th, 9th, wherever we are, right? August something. So we've got a timing here that it's Lionsgate portal. So it's wildly open energies, and in the mainstream, world of TikTok and whatever, everybody's like, manifest, 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 manifest. Yes, but no, because it's really a time to create space for manifestation, which is a little bit different, because we're in a releasing time. We're in a planning time. We're in a setting intention time. We're in a establishing wishes. So with your signature, Krista, you want to be taking advantage over the next few weeks to be like, these are my wishes. And let me just look at oh yes, and whisper them out into the world. Okay, I just looked at your human design just to peek. So for others, Mercury is going to go retrograde on the 23rd, going to stay retrograde until the 15th of September. You can do things. I've been telling people, please do not launch a book or a new podcast or a brand new division or a new business during this time. If you do, say you've organized all the things and that's just what's going to happen, have a really long lead up, which we're kind of running out of time for that now, but have an incredibly long tail. So that way you can be making connections and you can be stirring things later when the energies lift back up again, which happen at the end of September. And that we have eclipses between the 14th and the 28th of October. So it's a great time to stir the divine feminine energy and things like intuition, potential, collaboration, creation, what's another one? Connection, appreciation, like customer loyalty. That's also a good time now. Go back and look at alumni energy, like past things that you've done with people. It's a really great time to solidify those connections. New connections between the 15th of September and the 14th of October, and then after the 28th of October till the end of the year. The beginning of the year, Q1, is a great time to launch. Woo, woo, woo. So I think I answered the question. If you have more detailed questions, I do a weekly forecast right here on LinkedIn for 30 seconds every Monday. Have you ever listened to that?
I will now.
Well, because here's the thing. So 30 seconds, because everybody's like 30 seconds. Great. I also have a 3 to 5 minute one on YouTube, which people like, that if they do me times 2 and then it'll be 2 minutes, right? You know what I mean? But you get a lot more information. And I have a quiz, knowyourlifequiz.com, which helps determine how you're living your stars. And once you know how you're living your stars, I actually do the weekly forecast based on those types on YouTube. So that's what people really like. They're like, oh, great. I'm an intuitive visionary. This is what it means for me this week, because it means something different for you than it means for a creative superstar. So yes, all those things are happening. So good. And I think that answers the next question, because somebody asked about how do I know whether I'm aligned with my stars or not? Hence this whole system that I've set up, living your star potential. So you can know what your potential is if you come in, and I do a reading for you if you sign up for a call or something, and then you can know what you're doing on a daily basis, and then you can have the forecast to know how to like make those adjustments and one. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah. Okay, so let me see. Okay, so this is for Crista. You built a team to grow. So Crista, you built a team to grow into developing partnerships. I think she wants to answer the question. Like she said, did you go from a team to do partnerships? I think that's what the question is.
Okay, so the relationship between team and partnerships?
I think so.
Okay, so a little bit of both. So I've done a lot of my growth through collaborations and partnerships with people separate and distinct from my team, because my actual word of the year is collaborative connections. It's just what I like to do in general. But when I decided to make a shift in my business model, which I was talking about before, I did decide to bring up a team of rock star experts next to me. So I partnered with other really seasoned, really experienced entrepreneurs and brought them into my team so that we have an entire strategic advisory, high level team, if you will, to go out and work with other businesses. So I structured it that way because that was what I had wanted to do and the level and skill of the person that I wanted to surround myself with. So yeah, it's a partnership. They are part of my team, but they also have their own businesses and are wildly successful in their own right.
That's beautiful. That's yay, right? And so I think I read the question right. So, but you explained it beautifully. And so how can people find you?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to know more about me, you can find me at leanoutmethod.com. You'll find all the things there, including a link to my podcast.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And for me, like you can follow me here on LinkedIn. Also, you can go to kimwoods.com. I do have right underneath my name, I have the knowyourlifequiz.com. If you don't know what your intuitive success type is, I invite you to answer those 12 questions and find out. And then you're going to be led to this gorgeous funnel where we just give you more tips. So you're not going to be in like the funnel of sales like hell. We don't do that. We just like invite you further into our world to know more about yourself. And if you want to hop on a call with me, I know Tam's going to put the call link into the comments. I mean, I do 15-minute strategy calls. I love to talk to people. I love to meet people. I don't come in with expectations. I'm like, I have no idea why we're here. Let's find out. And so many delicious things happen when you do that. It's so awesome, right? It's so good. So I think we've done all the things we promised to do today, Krista.
Oh, Kim, you are magical. You are amazing. You are brilliant. Thank you for this. Thank you for having me on. And thank you for sharing this with so many people.
Thank you for the idea. And I'm going to say thank you right now because I don't know what we're going to talk about on your podcast, but it's going to be good.
Oh, I can't
It's going to
wait.
be revealing. I don't know what it's going to be, but we will announce that when that happens, right? And I think we're all set. Thank you so much for coming. And if there's any comments, I'll come back and answer them. And I'm sure Chris